Listen closely to the rhythm of your life. Can you hear it? It is a sound so subtle, so pervasive, that most men never notice it until the silence of their final hour. It is the ticking of the clock, yes, but it is something more dangerous than the passing of time. It is the sound of drifting. It is the soft, hypnotic hum of a life on autopilot. A life lived by reaction rather than intention. A life where the days bleed into weeks and the weeks into years, leaving behind nothing but the gray ash of good intentions and half-hearted promises. You are standing at a precipice, whether you realize it or not. The next 90 days of your life are not merely a measurement of time on a calendar. They are a crucible. They are a forge. And in this forge, you will either be melted down into the slag of mediocrity, indistinguishable from the drifting masses, or you will be hammered, tempered, and sharpened into the steel of a master. The tragedy of the average man is not that he lacks ability. It is not that he lacks intelligence, or opportunity, or even desire. The tragedy is that he lacks command. He is like a ship with a powerful engine, but no rudder, spinning in circles in the middle of a vast ocean, burning fuel, making noise, creating motion, but arriving nowhere. Napoleon Hill, the great observer of human success, identified this state as the primary cause of failure. He called it drifting. To drift is to allow the circumstances of the world to dictate your thoughts. To drift is to accept the opinions of others as your own reality. To drift is to wake up in the morning without a definite chief aim. To move through your day reacting to emails, reacting to the news, reacting to the moods of others, and to go to sleep having built nothing, claimed nothing, and commanded nothing. 98% of the population is caught in this hypnotic rhythm. They are waiting. They are waiting for the economy to improve, waiting for the right partner, waiting for the perfect job, waiting for permission to be great. But I am here to tell you that permission will never come. The world does not give command. The world only recognizes those who take it. You must understand that nature abhors a vacuum. If you do not fill your mind with a definite, burning purpose, the world will fill it with fear, doubt, and triviality. If you do not command your destiny, you will be assigned a destiny by someone else, and I promise you it will not be a destiny you enjoy. So, we begin here. We begin with the brutal truth of where you stand. Look at the last 90 days of your life. Be honest. Did you move forward with the relentless force of a glacier, carving your path through the landscape of your reality? Or did you float? Did you succumb to the path of least resistance? The path of least resistance is the path of the loser. It is the river that flows downward, always downward, until it pools in the stagnant swamps of regret. To win the next 90 days, to truly change the trajectory of your bloodline and your future, you must make a decision that terrifies you. You must decide to stop drifting. You must decide to grab the wheel of your mind and steer it directly into the storm of growth. This is not about a new to-do list. This is not about a productivity hack. This is about a fundamental shift in your frequency. It is about waking up and realizing that you are the thinker of the thoughts, the creator of the moods, and the captain of the soul. When Andrew Carnegie, the steel titan who turned raw earth into the backbone of America, spoke of success, he did not speak of luck. He spoke of a definiteness of purpose. He knew that a mind with a clear target generates a power that the drifting mind can never comprehend. When you stop drifting, the universe changes its response to you. As long as you are vague, life will be vague with you. As long as you are hesitant, life will be hesitant in its rewards. But the moment, the very second, you lock your mind onto a definite outcome and back it with the white, hot heat of obsession, the waters part. The next 90 days are your winter arc, your training ground, your private war. But before you can fight the war, you must identify the enemy. The enemy is not the government. The enemy is not your boss. The enemy is not the competition. The enemy is the part of you that wants to be comfortable. It is the voice that whispers, "You can do it tomorrow." It is the seductive lullaby of procrastination that has kept you small for years. You must declare war on this version of yourself. You must look in the mirror and realize that the person looking back at you has taken you as far as they can. That person cannot take you to the next level. That person must be sacrificed on the altar of who you are becoming. Consider the great Henry Ford. He was not a man of superior education, he was a man of superior will. When he envisioned a motor car for the masses, the entire world told him it was impossible. His advisors, his friends, the experts, they all drifted in the current of what is. Ford did not drift. He stood on the solid rock of what must be. He commanded his destiny because he refused to let his vision be diluted by the doubts of lesser men. He understood a principle that you must burn into your brain right now. The majority is always wrong. If you do what everyone else does, you will get what everyone else gets, and what everyone else gets is a life of quiet desperation. To win, you must be willing to be unreasonable. You must be willing to demand more of yourself in these next 90 days than you have demanded in the last 9 years. This starts with a shift in identity. You are no longer a person trying to succeed. You are a success who is in the process of manifesting. Do you hear the difference? The drifter hopes, the master knows. The drifter wishes, the master demands. This demand is not a scream at the sky. It is a quiet, iron-clad resolution in the heart. It is the click of the lock engaging. It is the feeling of the bridge burning behind you. There is no retreat. There is no plan B. There is only the summit or the grave. When you operate with this level of conviction, fear loses its grip on you. Fear feeds on hesitation. When hesitation dies, fear starves. You are entering a period of compression. You are going to compress decades of growth into a single season. This requires the suspension of disbelief. You must stop looking at your current bank account, your current relationships, your current body, and using them as evidence of what is possible. They are not evidence of the future. They are merely the lagging indicators of your past thoughts. They are the echoes of who you used to be. To change the reflection in the mirror, you do not scrub the glass. You change the face in front of it. You change the mind that projects reality. Napoleon Hill spoke of the ether that permeates the universe, a medium that picks up the vibrations of our dominant thoughts and translates them into their physical equivalent. If your dominant thought is fear of poverty, you will attract poverty with mathematical precision. If your dominant thought is aimlessness, you will attract chaos. But if your dominant thought is a singular, obsession-level goal, held with faith and gratitude, the ether has no choice but to reshape your reality to match it. This is not magic, it is mechanics. It is the physics of the soul. So, as we stand at the threshold of these 90 days, you must ask yourself, what is the one thing, the single, definite achievement that would change everything? Not 5 things, not a scattered list of nice to haves. One thing, a specific amount of money, a completed manuscript, a physical transformation, a launched business. You must define it with such clarity that a child could understand it. You must define it with such precision that you can see it, smell it, and touch it in your imagination. Ambiguity is the fog in which the drifter dies. Clarity is the sunlight in which the master is born. You must strip away the noise. The modern world is a machine designed to distract you. It is a carnival of flashing lights and cheap dopamine, engineered to keep you docile, to keep you scrolling, to keep you envious of others while you neglect your own empire. For the next 90 days, you must unplug from the matrix of distraction. You cannot command your destiny if you are constantly consuming the agendas of others. You must become a creator, not a consumer. Every hour you spend watching another man live his life is an hour you have stolen from your own. It is an act of treason against your potential. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed 10,000 times. The world calls them failures. He called them feedback. Why did he keep going? Why did he not drift into the comfort of giving up? Because he had a picture in his mind that was more real to him than the reality in front of his eyes. He saw the light before the bulb ever glowed. He lived in the state of the wish fulfilled. You must cultivate this same delusional faith. You must be willing to look foolish to the world so that you can be victorious in the end. The drifter worries about his reputation. The master worries about his character. This journey you are embarking on is not for the weak. It will require you to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It will require you to wake up when it is dark and cold, while the rest of the world is wrapped in warm blankets, dreaming lies. It will require you to study while others are entertained. It will require you to work while others wish. But the price of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. The pain of the next 90 days of intense focus is nothing compared to the agony of looking back in 10 years and wondering, what if? You have been given the gift of life, the gift of a mind that can reason, imagine, and create. To waste this gift on drifting is the ultimate sin. It is a rejection of your divine inheritance. You were not made to be a spectator. You were made to be a protagonist. You were made to shape the clay of circumstance into the statue of triumph. But the clay is hard, and the hands must be strong. The time for negotiation is over. You have negotiated with your potential for too long. You have made treaties with your laziness. You have signed armistices with your fear. No more. Today, you tear up those agreements. Today, you declare total war on mediocrity. You draw a line in the sand of your history and say, here the drifting stops. Here the command begins. As you move into this mindset, you must understand that your mind is a garden. For years, perhaps, you have allowed weeds to grow. Weeds of self-doubt, weeds of limitation, weeds of negativity planted by cynical people. For the next 90 days, you are the gardener with a flamethrower. You burn the weeds. You turn the soil. You plant only the seeds of your definite purpose. And you water those seeds with the blood, sweat, and tears of your relentless action. You do not check the seed every hour to see if it has grown. That is doubt. You water it with the absolute, knowing that the harvest is inevitable. This is the law of the harvest. You reap what you sow multiplied. If you sow drifting, you reap chaos. If you sow intense, focused, disciplined thought and action, you reap miracles. The next 90 days are your sowing season. Do not look for the harvest in week 1. Do not look for it in week 2. Just sow. Sow in the morning. Sow in the night. Sow when you are tired. Sow when you are inspired. Sow when you are despairing. Keep planting the thoughts of power and the actions of progress. Because the shift is happening. Can you feel it? It starts as a whisper, a subtle change in your posture, a new firmness in your voice, a different light in your eyes. People will start to notice. They will say you have changed. They will ask what has gotten into you. You will tell them, I have stopped drifting. I have taken the helm. You are awakening the giant within, the dormant force that Napoleon Hill called the other self. This other self knows no fear. It knows no limitation. It does not know the word impossible. It has been waiting for you to stop drifting so it can take over. When you commit to the 90 days, you unlock the cage. You let the other self take the controls. And when that happens, the world steps aside. The obstacles that seemed like mountains become stepping stones. The people who doubted you become footnotes in your biography. You are ready. The clock is ticking, but now it ticks for you. It is counting down the moments until your victory. But victory is not a destination. It is a state of mind that you must occupy right now. You do not wait to become a winner. You win first in your mind, and then the world reflects it. So stand tall, breathe deep. The drift is over. The command has begun. And as we move deeper into the architecture of this transformation, we must examine the very foundation upon which your destiny will be built. The unshakable, undeniable power of belief. Belief is not a passive acceptance of things as they are. It is an aggressive imposition of your will upon the chaos of the universe. It is the alchemical fire that transforms the lead of your current circumstances into the gold of your future reality. Understand this distinction, for it is the difference between the master and the martyr. The average man demands proof before he believes. He stands before the stove of life and says, "Give me heat, and then I will add the wood." He waits for the validation of the world, for the applause of the crowd, for the numbers in the bank account to appear before he allows himself to feel successful. But the law of life is exact, and it is ruthless. You must put the wood in first. You must generate the heat from within, in the cold, dark silence of your own conviction, long before the first spark of evidence appears in the outer world. Napoleon Hill called faith the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, The subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. This is not religion, this is radio. Your mind is a broadcasting station. For years, you have been broadcasting a signal of doubt, of worry, of "I'm not enough," of "it's too hard," and the universe, which is a giant mirror, has reflected that signal back to you in the form of missed opportunities, broken relationships, and stagnation. To win the next 90 days, you must change the frequency. You must broadcast a signal of absolute, unwavering, delusional certainty. You might say, "But I don't feel it yet. How can I believe in a fortune when I have empty pockets? How can I believe in health when I am in pain?" This is where the magic of auto-suggestion comes into play. You cannot force belief, but you can cultivate it. You can program it. The subconscious mind is a fertile patch of garden soil. It does not care if you plant corn or nightshade. It will return more of whatever you plant. If you plant a lie, and you repeat that lie with emotion and conviction, the subconscious will accept it as truth and begin to move heaven and earth to make it real. This is the secret that every dictator, every saint, and every tycoon has known. If you tell yourself, "I am a failure," every time you stumble, you are hypnotizing yourself into mediocrity. You are literally casting a spell on your own potential. But if you stand amidst the wreckage of a failure and declare, "This is merely a temporary defeat, a lesson that is preparing me for a greater victory," you rewire the neural pathways of your brain. You must lie to your current reality until your new reality catches up. You must speak to your subconscious as a commanding officer speaks to a soldier, not with a question, but with an order. Think of the Wright brothers. They were bicycle mechanics. They did not have the funding of the government or the credentials of the scientific elite. The laws of physics, as they were understood at the time, declared that human flight was a fantasy. If they had relied on evidence, they would have stayed in their shop repairing chains and tires. But they possessed a quality that transcended physics. They had faith in the unseen. They could see the machine flying in their minds so clearly that the gravity of the earth lost its hold on them before they ever left the ground. They crashed. They failed. They were mocked. But their belief was not attached to the result of a single day. It was attached to the inevitability of their vision. They knew they would fly. It was not a question of if, but when. Do you have that level of resolve for your next 90 days? Or are you leaving yourself a back door? The man who enters a battle with a plan for retreat has already lost. Belief requires the burning of bridges. You must put yourself in a position where you must succeed because the alternative is unthinkable. When you remove the safety net, the mind sharpens, the senses heighten, the dormant forces of the soul, which sleep during times of comfort, awaken with a roar when survival is on the line. You must ritualize your belief. Every morning and every night, you must feed your mind the raw materials of your future. Write down your definite chief aim, that one major goal for these 90 days. Do not just read it, shout it. Feel it, emotionalize it. See yourself already in possession of it. Feel the texture of the money, the weight of the award, the embrace of the partner. The subconscious does not speak English, it speaks emotion. It speaks imagery. If you recite your goals with the enthusiasm of a grocery list, you are wasting your breath. You must vibrate with the reality of it. You must generate the feeling of gratitude now, before the gift arrives. Gratitude is the ultimate signal of reception. When you thank the universe for what you have not yet received, you are proving your faith. You are signing the contract with destiny. This is the hardest work you will ever do. Harder than lifting weights, harder than crunching numbers. It is the work of holding a mental image steady while the world tries to shake it loose. The drifter's mind is a leaf in the wind, blown about by every headline and every criticism. The master's mind is a gyroscope, stable and centered, regardless of the turbulence around it. When a problem arises, and they will arise, for the resistance is always strongest just before the breakthrough. The believer does not say, "Why is this happening to me?" The believer says, "This is necessary for my development." This is the weight that builds the muscle. You must become paranoid in reverse. You must believe that the entire world is conspiring to help you. That traffic jam that made you late, it saved you from an accident. That client who said no, they were clearing the space for a bigger yes. When you adopt this frame of reference, you become invincible. You cannot be discouraged because every setback is reframed as a setup. You become an alchemist, constantly transmuting the lead of adversity into the gold of advantage. But belief alone is energy without a vessel. It is steam without an engine. To harness this power, to drive the pistons of your life and propel you through this 90-day arc, your belief must be focused through the lens of absolute clarity. You cannot hit a target you cannot see, and you cannot see a target if your mind is cluttered with the fog of indecision. Clarity is power. Most people are walking through a dense mist, hoping they bump into success. They want more money, but they don't know how much. They want better life, but they can't define what that looks like. The universe cannot fulfill a vague request. If you go to a restaurant and tell the waiter, "Bring me some food," you will get whatever leftovers the chef wants to get rid of. But if you order the steak medium rare with a side of asparagus, that is exactly what you will get. You must place your order with life with the same specificity. In these next 90 days, ambiguity is your enemy. You need a vision so sharp, so detailed that it hurts. You need to know exactly what you are building. If it is a business, who is the customer? What is the product? What is the price? If it is a body, what is the weight? What is the body fat percentage? If it is a relationship, what are the values? You must construct the blueprint before you pour the concrete. A builder does not arrive at the job site and ask, "What are we building today?" The blueprint is done before the ground is broken. Your mind is the architect, your actions are the builders. Napoleon Hill tells the story of the man who desired gold. He went west, he staked a claim, and he dug. He found a vein of ore, bought the machinery, and mined it. But then the vein disappeared. He dug a little more, found nothing, and quit. He sold his machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and went home in defeat. The junk man called in a mining engineer. The engineer calculated that the vein had not disappeared, it had merely shifted. He told the junk man to dig just 3 feet from where the first man had stopped. 3 feet. That is where the gold was. The first man failed not because he lacked effort, but because he lacked the expert clarity to see where the gold truly lay. He stopped 3 feet from gold because his vision was limited to what his eyes could see, not what his mind could understand. Do not stop 3 feet from gold. Your clarity must be deep enough to see through the obstacles. You must anticipate the dip. You must know the terrain. This 90-day sprint is not a casual jog. It is a strategic strike. You need to map out your weeks, your days, your hours. A day without a plan is a day lost to drift. You should wake up every morning knowing exactly what needs to be executed. There should be no thinking in the morning, only doing. The thinking was done the night before. This level of clarity eliminates decision fatigue. When you know exactly where you are going, you don't waste energy wondering if you should turn left or right. The decision is already made. The path is illuminated. This allows you to move with speed. Success loves speed. Money loves speed. The slow are eaten by the fast. When you are clear, you are fast because you are not weighed down by the baggage of maybe. Visualize your goal as a lighthouse in a storm. The waves of distraction will crash. The winds of fatigue will howl. The fog of doubt will roll in. But if that light is bright enough, if that beam is strong enough, you will always find your bearing. You will navigate the treacherous waters of the next 3 months, not by luck, but by orientation. You are oriented towards your North Star. But be warned, clarity creates responsibility. Once you see the path, you have no excuse for not walking it. Ignorance is a comfortable blanket, but clarity is a cold shower. It wakes you up. It demands action. It strips away the lies you have been telling yourself about why you aren't there yet. You aren't there yet because you haven't done the work. Clarity reveals the gap between who you are and who you must become. And that gap can only be bridged by one thing: action. Not just any action, but disciplined, rhythmic, relentless action. We are not talking about busy work. We are talking about the definite action that moves the needle. We are talking about organized planning. You cannot command your destiny with chaos. You must organize your energy. You must marshal your forces. Napoleon Hill studied the most powerful men in the world, and he found that every single one of them, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, relied on organized planning. They did not rely on brilliance alone. They relied on systems. They relied on the mastermind. You may be walking this path alone in your room, but you cannot succeed entirely in isolation. You need the counsel of the greats. If you do not have a physical mastermind group, create one in your library. Let Napoleon Hill be your mentor. Let Marcus Aurelius be your advisor. Let Seneca be your guide. Read their words. Think about their thoughts. When you are faced with a decision in these 90 days, ask yourself, what would the Titan do? Would the Titan sleep in? Would the Titan scroll social media? Would the Titan complain about the difficulty? No, the Titan would assess the situation, formulate a plan, and execute with extreme prejudice. You are building a machine. The machine is your life. The fuel is your belief. The steering wheel is your clarity. But the engine, the thing that turns the wheels and devours the miles, is your discipline. Without discipline, the most beautiful car is just a sculpture. It sits in the driveway and rusts. You have sat in the driveway long enough. It is time to turn the key. It is time to engage the gears. It is time to learn the art of self-mastery, the ability to give yourself a command and follow it regardless of how you feel. Feelings are for children. Commitments are for masters. The next 90 days will not be easy, but they will be glorious if, and only if, you can conquer the enemy in the mirror. Discipline is the refining fire by which talent becomes ability. The enemy in the mirror does not want to be disciplined. That reflection wants comfort. It wants the path of least resistance. It wants to hit the snooze button, to eat the sugar, to skip the workout, to delay the difficult phone call. That version of you is governed by what Napoleon Hill called hypnotic rhythm. It is the tendency of nature to make any habit you indulge in. If you have indulged in laziness, nature has made laziness your permanent rhythm. If you have indulged in fear, fear has become your default setting. The only way to break a negative hypnotic rhythm is to introduce a stronger, more violent force of will. You must shock the system. You are attempting to achieve escape velocity. Think of a rocket leaving the atmosphere. It consumes 80% of its fuel just to get off the ground. It has to fight the crushing weight of gravity every single inch of the way. The air resists it. The earth pulls at it. Everything in the environment screams, "Stay down. Stay here with us." That is exactly what your next 30 days will feel like. Your old friends, your old habits, your old neural pathways, they will all conspire to pull you back to earth. They will whisper that you are working too hard, that you are changing, that you should relax. If you listen to them, you crash. To reach the stars, you must burn the fuel. You must push the engines to maximum capacity and hold them there until you break through the atmosphere. Once you are in orbit, you can glide. But you cannot glide to glory. You must thrust your way there. This is why most men fail in the first 10 days. They underestimate the gravity of their own past. They try to change their lives with a little bit of willpower. You cannot jump over a chasm in 2 small leaps. You must gather every ounce of strength and leap once, with total commitment. Discipline is that leap. It is the ability to carry out a resolution long after the mood in which you made it has left you. Anyone can be excited on day 1. The amateur is fueled by excitement. The master is fueled by commitment. Day 1 is easy. Day 10 is the test. Day 20 is the grind. Day 30 is the breakthrough. You must fall in love with the boredom of consistency. We live in a highlight, real culture that celebrates the trophy, but hides the training. You see the athlete on the podium, but you do not see the thousands of mornings they woke up in pain and went to the track anyway. You see the entrepreneur ringing the opening bell, but you do not see the years of rejection and near bankruptcy. If you want the highlight, you must embrace the shadow work. You must embrace repetition, the same actions done with the same intensity day after day after day. This is not sexy, it is not glamorous, but it is the mathematical formula for greatness. Napoleon Hill observed that self-discipline is the master key to riches. It is the only thing you truly control. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control other people. You can only control your own mind. And if you cannot control your own mind, you cannot control anything else. When you conquer yourself, you conquer the world. When you can look at a temptation and say no, not because you have to, but because you choose to, you have attained a level of freedom that the hedonist will never understand. The man who is a slave to his appetites thinks he is free because he does what he wants. He is a fool. He is a puppet dancing on the strings of biology. The disciplined man is the only free man, for he does what he wills. In these 90 days, you must guard your energy like a fortress. You have a finite amount of mental and emotional capital. Every time you get angry at a traffic jam, you are spending capital. Every time you argue with a fool in the comment section, you are leaking power. Every time you worry about something that hasn't happened yet, you are paying interest on a debt you may never owe. Stop the leaks. Plug the holes in your vessel. You need every drop of that energy to build your empire. This brings us to the mystery of sex transmutation, one of Hill's most misunderstood and powerful principles. It is not merely about celibacy. It is about conservation and redirection. It is about taking the most potent chemical energy in the human body, the drive to create life, and channeling it into the creation of a life's work. When you harness that drive and push it through the turbine of your purpose, you become charismatic, creative, and tireless. You become a force of nature. Do not dissipate this power in frivolous pursuit of momentary pleasure. Transmute it. Turn it into wealth. Turn it into art. Turn it into a legacy. As you discipline yourself, you will encounter the testing period. The universe will test your resolve. It will send you a difficulty that seems unfair. It will send you a bill you didn't expect or a criticism that cuts deep. Do not mistake this for a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are moving. The wind only blows in your face when you are moving forward. If the wind is at your back, you are likely retreating. When the test comes, smile at it. Recognize it for what it is, the gatekeeper of the next level. The gatekeeper demands a toll, and the toll is persistence. Persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. It is the hardening agent. Without persistence, you are iron, strong but brittle. You will crack under pressure. With persistence, you become steel, flexible, durable, and sharp. How many times must you try? Until. The answer is always until. You try until you succeed. There is no other variable. If you decide beforehand that you will persist until you win, you remove the possibility of failure. Failure can only settle in the mind that accepts it as permanent. For the persistent man, failure is merely a detour, never a dead end. Consider the story of R.U. Darby's uncle, the man who stopped 3 feet from gold. But consider also what Darby did after that. He went into the insurance business. He remembered the lesson of the gold mine. He told himself, I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop because men say no when I ask them to buy insurance. He became one of fewer than 50 men who sold over $1 million in life insurance annually in his time. He turned his greatest failure into his greatest asset because he applied the law of persistence. He refused to accept a no as a reality. He accepted it only as a starting point for negotiation. In the next 90 days, you will hear no. You will feel resistance. Your body will ache. Your mind will try to rationalize quitting. This is the devil trying to make a deal with you. He will offer you comfort in exchange for your soul. He will offer you a nap in exchange for your dream. Rebuking him requires a definite chief aim, backed by continuous action. You cannot defeat the drift by thinking. You defeat it by moving. Action is the cure for fear. Action is the cure for doubt. When you are moving, you don't have time to worry. You must build a momentum that makes you unstoppable. A train moving at full speed can crash through a 5-foot-thick steel reinforced concrete wall without stopping. That same train, if stationary, can be prevented from moving by a single 1-inch block of wood placed in front of its wheel. You are currently building up steam. Do not let the blocks of wood, the petty doubts, the small excuses, keep you stationary. Once you get moving, once you build the momentum of the next 90 days, nothing will be able to stop you. You will crash through barriers that terrify others. This momentum creates a vacuum that attracts resources. This is the law of attraction in action. Not sitting on a couch wishing, but moving with such velocity that you create a wake in the ether. People want to be around a moving object. Investors want to back a moving object. Opportunity latches onto a moving object. Be the moving object. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. If you wait for the lights to turn green before you leave the house, you will never start the journey. Start where you are, with what you have, and better tools will be found as you go along. But let us be precise about the kind of action. It must be organized. Activity is not achievement. A rocking chair is in motion, but it goes nowhere. You need linear, directed action. This requires the brutal elimination of the non-essential. You must learn the power of the word no. No to the dinner party that doesn't align with your goals. No to the TV show that numbs your mind. No to the toxic friend who drains your spirit. Every no to the non-essential is a yes to your destiny. You are carving your life out of the marble of existence. To reveal the masterpiece, you must chip away everything that is not the masterpiece. It is a process of subtraction. As you chip away the excess, as you refine your habits and harden your will, you will begin to experience a strange phenomenon. The struggle will begin to fade. The discipline that was once hard will become easy. The waking up early will become automatic. The focus will become natural. You are entering the flow state of the master. You are rewriting your hypnotic rhythm. Now, instead of nature working against you, pulling you down into laziness, nature begins to work for you, locking you into a groove of success. You are creating a new orbit, and once established, this new orbit requires less energy to maintain than it took to create. This is the promise of the 90 days. If you pay the price now, you get to keep the prize forever. But to reach that state, you must navigate the treacherous waters of your own emotions. You must learn emotional intelligence, not the soft kind that coddles weakness, but the stoic kind that transmutes pain. You will feel lonely. You will feel misunderstood. Though the eagle flies alone, the crow flies in a flock. If you are lonely, it is because you have ascended to an altitude where the air is thin and the crowd is gone. Do not descend to meet them. Make them rise to meet you. This isolation is your sanctuary. It is in the silence that you hear the voice of infinite intelligence. It is in the solitude that you receive the hunches, the intuitive flashes that Napoleon Hill spoke of. These flashes are the direct communication from the universal mind to your finite mind. They are the seeds of genius, but you cannot hear them if your life is filled with the noise of mediocrity. You must cultivate the silence. You must create a space for the download to occur. And when the idea comes, when that flash of inspiration strikes you in the middle of your disciplined labor, you must act on it immediately. Hesitation is the assassin of intuition. If you wait, the idea cools. If you wait, the logic of the world creeps in and talks you out of it. Trust the gut. The gut is the antenna of the subconscious. It knows things your logical brain has not yet figured out. Now look at your hands. These are the tools of your trade. Look at your environment. This is your workshop. There are no missing pieces. You have everything you need right now to begin the ascent. The illusion of lacking is a lie told by the drifter to justify his inaction. You do not lack resources, you lack resourcefulness. And resourcefulness is born of necessity. When you burn the ships, you figure out how to fight. We are moving now into the heart of the transformation. We have established the mindset, the belief, the clarity, and the discipline. Now we must address the fuel that keeps the engine running when the road gets steep. We must talk about the power of the mastermind and the alchemy of your environment. For no man climbs the mountain entirely alone. Even if he walks the path in solitude, he walks with the ghosts of the great, and he walks with the allies he attracts through his vibration.